Hey, and welcome back to Chasing Junk. I'm Tyler, and today I'm going to do my September collection haul. These are all the things I collected in September, which was a significant month for two reasons. Number one, because I spent more than I've ever spent in a single month of collecting anything. And two, because I completed one of my collections, so it was kind of a historic month. So you can see kind of the haul here in the background, but let's start with number one on my list. The first thing I got was a bunch of CDs. Now I got all these either at the thrift store or at a yard sale. I got 16 total CDs, including these box sets. Let me show you what is in this collection.
Okay, so some crazy good pickups here. First, some karaoke CDs. That's kind of fun. Charlotte Church, who was like a 12-year-old phenom, piano guys, some popular music. But then here's the bulk of it, which is some great 80s CDs. We got George Michael. This is a Maroon 5 from the 2000s, but a good old INXS, Hangin' Tough from New Kids on the Block. We'll talk about that in a second. Alan Parsons Project. Martin Page, that's got The House of Stone and Light. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell 2, that's got some great songs from the early 90s. We've got Elton John's Greatest Hits, Mark Cohn with Walking in Memphis, and Amy Grant. So a pretty good haul, and it was only $16.
Okay, now 13 of those 16 CDs are just going into storage. I've already digitized them, put them on my computer, so they're on my playlist. But there's 3 that are going up on display, so they're going to take the place of, wrong direction. These 3 Counting Crow CDs that I've had up for the last month, I'm going to take those down, put them in the car, and listen to them. I've been listening to the greatest hits, so that's why that's gone. But these 3 are going up in display, and here's why. Number one, INXS. This is just a classic album from the 80s, and it's such a fun CD. Let me show it to you opened up. It's different because it has kind of this weird like thing on the top, and then it's got like a cardboard sticky thing, so it's just different from what you see in traditional. It's got these sleeves here on the inside for the booklet and things, and kind of a fun like little poster there on the side. This is just an iconic CD from the 80s, and it has great songs on it. We've got the big highlighted song on here is Wishing Well, which was a really fun one. The next CD I want to highlight is Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell 2. You might remember this from the early 90s. The big hit on this was, I think it was in 93, but that was the title track, I'd Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. Now, the interesting thing about the radio edits of these songs is they were normal radio length, but on the CD, they're all extended length. So you've got that one. You've got Rock and Roll Dreams Come True was a big hit. Objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are. I love that one. And a couple of other okay tracks. But really, for those 3 tracks, this is a beautiful CD. This was when I first was exposed to music for the first time, was in the early 90s. And so for me, this is really an instrumental CD. I didn't have this one as a kid, but I listened to it on the radio. I recorded them, put it on my Walkman on cassette tapes. And so this is a fun CD, very nostalgic for me. But not as nostalgic as Hangin' Tough. Hangin' Tough by New Kids on the Block. This is such a fun album because, you know, when we think about the very first boy bands, you could go back to Motown and talk about those and the Jackson 5 and things like that. But in the 90s, we had Boyz II Men, which might have been considered a boy band. And then we had this explosion of boy bands in the 90s, starting with New Kids on the Block and then going to groups like Backstreet Boys and Sync. Some of those kinds of bands. Well, New Kids on the Block were huge in the early 90s. My sisters loved these guys. I think they even had posters up on their wall. And I love this CD because of what's on it. Now, the other CD was okay too, but listen to this. You've got the right stuff. You got the right stuff, baby. That's a good one. We've got I'll Be Loving You Forever. That was a really good song. Cover Girl, Hangin' Tough, the title track here. I guess those are the 3 main ones. What it doesn't have is Popsicle. Popsicle's still my favorite track by New Kids on the Block, but this is a fun CD. You can stick it in your car, just listen to it as you go on a road trip, and it will take you back to the 90s. It's a super fun disc here. All right, so the next thing I've got to show you is some DVDs. These are from the 80s and 90s, and even technically into the 2000s. If you're not familiar with the show, you should be. Home Improvement. I got this for 20 bucks on eBay. I think I got taken for a ride because I'm pretty sure these were pirated, not all of the discs. When I digitized them so I can play them on any device, a lot of these didn't rip right because they look like they're not true copies of the disc, which is too bad, but what a great show. 8 seasons. It was fantastic. Then we've got Boy Meets World, and for me, this was like the iconic for a lot of people in the 70s and 80s. It was the Wonder Years. For me, it was Boy Meets World. I grew up with this kid, so he was in 5th grade around the time I was in 5th grade, and so we grew up at the same time. And going through this whole series till he goes to college and gets married, it's really fun to follow that journey. And so for me, super nostalgic. I still love watching the show, especially that first season. When he was in 5th grade, that was just a magical television show, and that season in particular. Now, this might have been a frivolous purchase, but I did just get, let's see, is it over here? It's over here, right here. See that? That's my little Nintendo box on my display. I love it when I come in and I see the NES, I see the Game Boy, I see the Power Glove. I love it. I love having that here in my office. I don't even know if it works because I haven't tried it. And so having these just as display doesn't make sense. One day will I collect them? Maybe. But I thought, why not start with the games I grew up with? So I went online. I found these on eBay. I found someone that had a bunch of different games so I could pick the ones I wanted. And let me show you what I got. So Bases Loaded, not a great game, but we had it, and I played it quite a bit. Same with Kung Fu. And actually, I don't think we had this, but my friend Nate did, and I played it a lot. Same with this one, Skate or Die. I didn't have it, but this was one of the cool games that I loved to play that my friends had. We did have California Games, which is a super fun game. And I played that a lot. That was one of the most popular games I played. This one goes with the Power Pad. Super Team Games, and I don't have a Power Pad yet, but I think I'm going to add that to my collection at some point. This is another game we didn't own, but I played it all the time with my friends, Excitebike, which was cool because you could make your own courses. And then finally, one more game that I didn't own, but I played it a lot. So you're noticing a theme here. We only had like 10 games, but there were a lot of games that I played with my friends, and this one was definitely one of them. Rad Racer is rad. I also picked a Game Boy game up, Tetris, just because it's my wife's favorite game, and I just thought it'd be fun to have a Game Boy game. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. Right now they're going in storage, but they might eventually make it up on a display somewhere. I'm not sure. All right, next we have a magazine lot, and last month I got my first Sears Wish Book wish list, and I love that. It was from 1992. I've gone through it. This one's fun. It was a reprint made in 1970, so 50 years ago, about 1927, 100 years ago. And so it's fun to just flip through this and kind of see what was available back in the 1920s and what they cost. Here we have, for $5 a month, you can get your own stovetop. And the total price on that would be like $400. And so it's just fun to go through this and see what kind of toys they had, what tools they had, what the fashion trends were. They actually took 450 pages out of this for the reprint version because it was so many different clothing items. But this has been a really fun one just to thumb through, and especially comparing it to what we had in 1992. And I hope to get a few more of these. I definitely want one from the early 80s, 84, 85, 86. For me, that was the peak of my childhood, and I want to see what was in the wish book then. But this is really fun. Another reprint I got was the very first Beckett monthly for baseball. This was made in 2011, but it's a reprint of the 1984 first edition, and it's fun to look through, see what the prices were. I also got 3 other lots, so in total, I spent 30 bucks on some old Beckett's. And I love going through these. Let me show you the ones. Well, first, we've got Jim Abbott here on the front. I was a huge fan of Jim Abbott. But let me show you some of the ones I actually had as a kid. So this Prime, Deion Sanders, this was probably the last Beckett I ever collected or got. This was from 1992. Back then, you could get it for, does it say the price? $2.95, which is about what I paid for these. So they really haven't gone up or down in value. I guess down in value when you account for inflation. But this is fun to go back through and just read about your favorite players, look at what the prices were back then, and in some cases, prices have gone down from the junk wax era for baseball cards, but it's kind of fun to look through. Also picked up a football card one. I never collected football cards, but kind of fun to have a football one. And then in basketball, this special issue, where are we? This special issue of Shaq is really cool. This doesn't have any card values. It was just an issue just about Shaq. And so it's just like having a book about Shaq, but it's really, really fun to kind of just read through, read stories about him, and remember, you know, how big he was back in the 90s. This was from probably 92, 93 when he was just starting out, but really fun here on the Becketts. These ones won't go on display for now. They're just going to go in my card collection with my just bulk cards, but I'll pull these out from time to time when I'm talking about card values. All right, so all we have left in this video is toys and cards. This month I got 2 toys for my collection. This first one I got Pound Puppies. It was only 15 bucks in box, and this is from the early 80s, and I just don't have a lot of toys from the early 80s. I remember having a Pound Puppy as a kid. My sisters were bigger into them than I was, but kind of fun just to see your Pound Puppies here from, I think this is 1983. And you know, it has the legs can come out here. Oh, it has it out on this side. So just a fun kind of box design. And I think I'll probably, right here where I have Babu Friet up, I think I'm going to put my Pound Puppy. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we have that up for the next month. And then the last toy I bought was, this is a ThunderCats action figure called Pumyra. And I can do this with her. This one kind of made me sick to purchase. I actually had this action figure a while ago, but it disappeared. And my kids are too old. I think we had nieces and nephews over once, and then it disappeared, probably innocently, thinking it was just a Barbie doll or something simple. It's not that fancy, not one of my favorite characters. This was from the end of the run, and so it came out, but it is a little more rare. So this was $77 on eBay. But I like my ThunderCats collection. This is a collection I'm actually trying to complete. I'm about 80% of the way there. So I got Pumyra. Here's what she looks like. She's kind of scary looking. But there you go. So I'll put her up on the shelves with some of my other ThunderCats, and that'll be a fun one. All right, my last thing that I got this last month that I collected was a bunch of different boxes of cards. I thought I was done for the year with cards, but my birthday is coming up, and I was like, I want to chase some cards on my birthday. So I got 2 boxes just to open for my birthday. This is just for me. I got 1989 Don Russ, so I could chase a Ken Griffey Jr. Rookie card. Don Russ was way cheaper than the Fleer or the Upper Deck rookie cards, or the Tops. Upper Deck, of course, is the one to get. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But a box of these 1989 Upper Deck is only, how much? Sorry, 89 Fleer. This was only $35. So pretty good value. I look forward to opening these packs. To go with it, I'm going to chase a Jose Canseco rookie. I've never opened a pack of 1987 Don Russ. Actually, I think the Canseco rookie was in 86, wasn't it? I don't know. 87 is when I started collecting. This is going to be a fun, nostalgic. I'm going to go for an Ozzie Smith, try to get a Canseco, and there were a few other good players there in 87. So this will be fun. This costs about 70 bucks. So for my birthday present, I spent 100 bucks and got 72 packs of cards. I also was just scanning on eBay one night, and I got this set of He-Man Masters of the Universe. To buy a box of packs of these from 1983, I think, or 84, the box is over 500 bucks, close to 1,000 bucks. But to get the whole set, this was like 20 bucks. So I don't know why the packs are so valuable, because the individual cards are not. But I have the whole set. It was only 15 bucks. Then I was looking at my inventory for my wax wall. Every box from 1986 to 1992 in basketball and in baseball. Now, I didn't get the first 2 sets of basketball. They're too expensive. But when I was looking at and making checklists for the is this 91? I think this is 91, 92 Fleer. I realized I only had 1 box, but it was the update box. This is the update box. So why do I have another box? because I bid on the wrong thing. Now I have 2 boxes. So I have this extra bonus box that I'll probably open in November just for fun. Then I'll open the actual update box when I update or unbox. I'm gonna open every single of the boxes of the Junk Wax era in 2026. I'm really excited to do that. I have 52 boxes, 1 a week, but this one I'll open this year just because it's extra. What I did get was the non-update version, and this one is kind of a trashed box, but I got it on a discount on eBay, so this was about $70 instead of paying $80 or $90. And the cool thing about the non-update version is you get these cool cards. I can't remember what this insert cards were called, but I loved them. It was just really cool artwork of all the best all-stars from that year, and I collected these cards when I was a kid. I can't wait to open some Jordans and Stockton and Malone, other Dream Teamers. This is a fun set. I don't love the blue cards, but I love the insert cards. So I'm excited to open this next year. Now, I mentioned this month was historic because I spent more than I've ever spent, and I completed my wall of wax. I was missing 2 boxes. They were both expensive, and I got good deals on both of them, so I went ahead and did it. Before these 2 boxes, I'd spent a total of $551 for the month, which was exactly my budget. I spend half of what I make extra by doing product reviews, and from a small part of that, it's just sponsored videos, and I take half of the money for that to put into my collections. Half the money of that I give to my wife so she can spend it on whatever she wants. So it's a very small percentage of our actual income, but it makes this whole collection thing really fun for me, and it gives me a budget each month that I can spend. I went over budget by a lot this month just because I wanted to take advantage of getting a good deal. So the first deal was 1989 Upper Deck. This is the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie season, but this is the high series. The high series means there's more cards, you're less likely to pull a Griffey, and so these cards are slightly less expensive than the low series, but you're still paying about $35 a pack for this. So this box was over $500. I can tell you exactly what it was. It wasn't over $500. It was $470, which is a lot of money, but it completes my wall of wax, and I was really excited. The most expensive box out of all the boxes I've ever collected was the final box I got, and that's the 1989-90 Fleer basketball. Now, these packs, of course, are very expensive, and what you try to get in here is a Michael Jordan. But the cool thing about the 89-90 Fleer is every single pack has a sticker in it, and all the stickers are semi-valuable because it's hard to maintain their condition. And so a Jordan sticker is going to be worth $20, but even a Barkley sticker is going to be worth $5, or a Stockton sticker is going to be worth $10. And so this is going to be really, really fun to open because I'm going to have a hit in every single pack because every pack has a sticker. So I'm really excited to open this. The box itself cost $540, but when you add up the value of each individual card, this is actually a decent value. Not as good as obviously your bargain cards in non-chase sets. It's better because you never actually sell the common cards, but here there's enough cards that are high quality cards that if I wanted to piece them out, try to get them graded, try to sell them, you can actually make money opening a box of 89-90 Fleer. So glad that I got a good deal on this, and that completes my wall of wax. It was a really fun month to collect. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this next month because I got so much. I probably just need to enjoy them and maybe not buy anything this next month. Probably what I'll do, because I love to collect, is I'll look for individual cards, probably find some cheap baseball cards, probably some BYU football auto cards, maybe a few Garbage Pail Kid cards to work on my collection, and maybe 1 or 2 vintage Hall of Famer cards. That's probably what I'll focus on in October, but if I get nothing, maybe we'll just skip the mailbag next month because it was a really good month in September. All right, keep chasing. Bye.